As an arrogant, old-fashioned humbug and a half, I love criticizing young people today. I hear about the way we act in classes and on campuses, in meeting rooms, and I feel ashamed. We are, without a doubt, these delicate little flowers who need to be coddled and watered daily with praise, or we're gonna get triggered and we're gonna tweet up a hissy until someone gets fired. We're also the best generation this world has seen in a long damn time. Allow me to explain. I grew up learning in one moment the stories that built earlier generations, their worldviews and their identities. And then in the very next learning that they were complete lies that just papered over oppression. Like, America is a great idea that conquered a continent and unleashed democracy on the world. Except we didn't. Not at all. And really the biggest difference between us and the Nazis is that when we tried to wipe out an entire race of people, we won. Or that everything was great in the 50s. The suburbs were a paradise with good values where everyone was happy because they were constantly robbing black people. Or that if you work hard and you get good grades, you can have a nice, comfortable life. Assuming your parents are rich. And so the model I have for what a tough adult should be, it comes from this military ethos, right? And it's all about steely-eyed discipline and this cold lack of compassion or understanding. And it's all about just, getting the job done. But that ethos has destroyed millions of lives around the world. Or I get toughness from this very toxic idea of manliness, which excludes half the world right off the bat, and it makes half of what's left feel inadequate and broken. So basically, the model I have for what a tough adult is supposed to be is an asshole. I was talking to my dad last weekend about how as you get older, worries, they take over your mind. And he was wondering if there was any way to get back to that sort of childlike sense of peace and happiness. But I don't think we're supposed to. I think children are so content because they're these little tiny despotic assholes. I think we have to learn to worry so we can learn to stop hurting other people in the crazy web of indirect ways we so often do. I also read an article last weekend that argued that environmentalists lost the ideological middle ground because they kept pushing people to do more and more and more with no end. But the reality is you do always need to do more and more and more. Because you go to the store and you buy tinfoil and then, oops, you just supported child slavery and poisoned a town's water supply. And oh yeah, by the way, contributed to the eventual flooding of all coastal areas. Life isn't simple. And we're the generation that has to figure out how to deal with that. So I think that's why we're so sensitive. Because we're overwhelmed and frazzled and lost and scared. There's too much to know and do and see now. Boredom just disappeared. And now we have instead the crushing stress of news feeds unread and the paralysis of too many hobbies and books and lectures and shows and games and workouts and clubs and movies and articles to possibly choose from. Just 15 years ago, it was at least theoretically possible to be caught up on everything happening in your world. Now, 400 hours of new video go up on YouTube every minute. So yeah, we're weak and fragile. Compare us to any of the generations that were drafted into wars, and that's immediately clear. But we're also the first generation of Americans that leaders don't think they can just send off to war on a whim. We're trying to live up to standards higher than anyone ever before. We're doing it knowing the stories that inspired our parents were all bullshit. And we're competing with a whole world instead of just a city or a country. So maybe our weakness is a kind of strength. Maybe cut us some slack and help us think about these crazy complicated issues. Stop calling us lazy and weak, or I swear to God, I will keep tweeting hashtags until you get fired. Delicate
Delicate little flowers, delicate flowers, delicate little flowers, delicate flowers. Just teeny, teeny, delicate little flowers. Just teeny, delicate flowers. Ooh, I'm a little delicate